everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Chilling Love. Here back again with your AEW Dynamite review for April 20th, 2022. And I'm wearing green. There's that. But nonetheless, it was a fun episode of Dynamite tonight. Ending much better. Yeah, much better ending than last week. Obviously, last week's was great, but the ending was much to be desired. But nonetheless, a heck of a Dynamite tonight, and some clearance and some indication on Double or Nothing a month away. But we got some good matches on the show and more qualifiers for the Owen Hart Cup tournament for both sides, the men and the women. But the big news coming out from tonight's Dynamite was June 26th, 5 days after my birthday. We'll have a first time ever, the first ever AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling joint pay-per-view. It will happen. That was Tony Khan's big announcement he made, including New Japan Pro Wrestling President Jay White and Adam Cole. But yeah, great news. So, I mean, AEW, we know, has been thoroughly siding with organizations partnering, whether it be Impact, New Japan, Ring of Honor, now that Tony Khan's the new owner of Ring of Honor. But this will be the first actual joint pay-per-view between AEW and another promotion. Here is New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Jay White said, first and foremost, that it'll feature prominently the Bullet Club and the Undisputed Elite. So that's going to be something to look forward to. June 26th. So Double or Nothing is next month. And All Out, of course, is Labor Day weekend. So it'll be nice in between moment for AEW. But looks like I'll have to review my first New Japan Pro Wrestling pay-per-view / AEW. But that'll be interesting, covering June 26th. Forbidden Door is what it's going to be called, and should be fun. Of course, Cole also said that we're going to get a preview on Rampage Friday. An Owen Hart Cup qualifier match. Adam Cole and Tomohiro Ishii making a second AEW Dynamite or AEW match. The first was a tag team match. I think it was Butcher and Blade versus Orange Cassidy and Ishii. Now will be his first singles match against Adam Cole. Should be fun for Rampage, but that was the big gist on Dynamite. But nonetheless, before I get into the review, thank you for joining me. If you're new to the podcast and you want to see more pro wrestling reviews, you can find them on the homepage. Click the descriptions or subscriptions. Find them all, including AEW. Of course, I've done NXT and Ring of Honor. Now with the news of Tony Khan talking to Time Warner about a possible Ring of Honor TV deal, I may have to cover more Ring of Honor reviews. So keep an eye on that going forward. But yeah, bunch to look forward to in the coming weeks. Dynamite start off CM Punk, Mr. CM Punk, who is on his journey to the AEW World Championship. He faced another longtime veteran, obviously longer than him, but Dustin Rhodes. A good match to open the show. A good match, Goldust or Dustin Rhodes as Goldust, their time periods were kind of mixed up while CM Punk was towards the end of his run in WWE. So they probably did face off against each other in WWE, but this was their first in a AEW setting. This was a good match to open the show. CM Punk on his journey, he'll face Hangman at Double or Nothing, and it should be fun. Seeing the stare down afterwards made it all kind of worth it, and the build. But in this match, Punk, he focused on the knee, focused on the ankle of Dustin, trying leg locks, trying to slam it down to the mat. Dustin was able to fire back with a flurry of offense. Hit code red for a near fall. He also fired back with a power slam for a 2. Punk went back on the advantage. Walked in the figure 4. They exchanged some slaps to the face, which inevitably broke up the hold. Dustin then good spot. Hit crossroads, followed by a pile driver for a damn near fall. Damn close near fall. Punk, because his arm was being favored throughout the match, he went for a GTS, but could not hook it in. And Dustin looked like he was about to counter into a sunset flip, but Punk countered into a high stack, 1, 2, 3, and Punk delivers out the victory against Dustin Rhodes and gets another victory on his route to the world title. Afterwards, respect between the two. And CM Punk on his way up the ramp stage area. All of a sudden we hear Hangman Adam Page, his music. He walks out, great ovation. They lock eyes, they have a stare down. I don't think any words were said, but, less is more. And got a great ovation, and Punk left, and the wheels are in motion. The wheels are in motion for CM Punk versus Hangman at Double or Nothing. Will be very interesting. Very interesting. Hangman, so he won the title at Full Gear over Kenny, and that was the last match of Omega, and it seems like, by Double Nothing, it'll be 6-7 months around there. So possibly, it could be. This is unpredictable, like how the Hangman Adam Cole match was, where I could definitely see Punk going over because CM Punk, and the stories there to be told with MJF, with the eventual him getting his rub for the world title. But of course, Hangman, we'll see. But either way, when we get down to it, it should be a fun match. Wardlow. So he was shown earlier in the day arriving to the building. He was met by security guards and Mark Sterling, saying that, well, for his match, he'll be escorted by security guards to the ring for his match, out the arena and out the building. So, but also, he'll have to wear handcuffs while on his way to the ring. So, extra. At first it started with little signs printed out for Wardlow to be banned from the arena. Then the signs got bigger and bigger, and then now Wardlow has to be escorted with a police escort and has to be handcuffed. So the restrictions by NJF are getting much more difficult, much more worrisome is MJF. So we got the Blackpool Combat Club versus Dante Martin, Brock Anderson, and Lee Moriarty. Trios match. Nothing much here, although Dante, always good seeing. He had good showing in this match against Moxley. Moriarty showed toughness and good fight against Bryan, but clearly we know who is winning. Although it's good to see Arn Anderson again because, for the longest time he was by Cody's side as his manager, now Cody's in WWE. Seeing him with his son is a good refresher, kind of to say. Although it's so crazy how much his son looks like his dad. So, I mentioned Moriarty and Dante, but finally, all six were in the ring. Brian was stomping heads. Yuto got some offense in, and Moxley finished with a paradigm shift. 1, 2, 3, as all three parties stand tall on the top rope. The way I see it, the top feud for the trio styles, if you ask me, Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, Bryan Danielson, and the House of Black. You know, Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews. Of course, there's also the Elite versus Adam Cole and Red Dragon. So we'll see. But either way, when those trio styles come, there'll be more of a purpose. Speaking of the Elite, the Undisputed Elite, rather, they were backstage. So Young Bucks, Adam Cole, and Red Dragon. So the Young Bucks were not in their typical happy sort of mood. They felt a bit darker in this segment, but so Kyle O'Reilly was all like, "What is up? What happened to the Young Bucks of old?" He said, "Well, he knows they all lost, but something's got to change." So O'Reilly said, starting tonight, when he beats Jungle Boy to qualify for the Owen Hart Cup, then things will start changing in the Undisputed Elite. And Adam Cole was trying to prop up Young Bucks, saying, well, we need you guys. We need you guys to be your best. So they lay out a challenge for a 10-man tag open challenge for next week. So there's that. And Adam Cole said he had some business to take care of, which we'll get into in a sec. But yeah. Another interesting thing Adam Cole did say in this segment. He said that all your friends are gone. But he said that he's still here, O'Reilly and Fish are still here. So, I mean, maybe a little still tease at Kenny Omega, or a little jab saying Omega's not here, but he is. So, when Kenny Omega returns, this feud is gonna blow wide open. It's gonna explode, and it's gonna be a great feud between all of them. Not much to say. So, Tony Khan. So, Tony Schiavone was out there. He introduced Tony Khan. Tony Khan thanked the fans, and he introduced the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling, sorry, I forgot his name, but nonetheless, he was tried out there. And just as they were about to make this big announcement, Adam Cole popped over the big screen and announced, well, who better to make this big announcement than himself? So, Adam Cole announced the joint pay-per-view between AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling known as Forbidden Door, happening in Chicago, Illinois, June 26th. I mean, should be a fun match at our fun pay-per-view. And he said that he'll give a little preview as for the events, announcing his match versus Ishii come Friday's Rampage. And he said he guarantees that a member of the Undisputed Elite will be the winner of the Owen Hart Cup qualifier or Owen Hart Cup tournament. Then he said he has a friend that wants to spare a message. Then we hear Jay White, Mr. Switchblade. We hear his music. Good to see Jay White back. Jay White, we saw him in pretty good match versus Trent Beretta. And yeah, this match, Jay White said particularly, well, it's not going to be about New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's not going to be about AEW. It's going to be about the Undisputed Elite and the Bullet Club. Because this is still our era. We can always start cherry picking and start fantasy booking the matches as, the possibilities are there. The possibilities of what matches are going to happen. And also, in particularly, who's going to show up. People have been talking about Okada and possibly AEW, getting Okada for an appearance and, setting something up for this AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling joint pay-per-view. It's certainly more likely. It's certainly a possibility. I mean, you have so many guys in the AEW roster who have spent a portion of their time in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And, not just Okada, but Tanahashi. He's there to make an appearance, probably. Kota Ibushi, talked about Omega coming back. Possibly a match with Ibushi again. It's certainly there, but, we'll see. But possibilities are there, and, it's a great thing for AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Because I don't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling a lot, but I'm aware of it, and I follow it through the weeks. And another guy to throw out there, because we just had Windy City Riot on Saturday. we had Windy City Riot. So another guy to throw out there that may be on this event. Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay. You know, Moxley and Ospreay had a banger of a match at Windy City Riot. Could do a rematch. At Forbidden Door. Just can throw that out there, but the possibilities are there. We'll see the weeks to come. But like I said, great news for AEW and New Japan. Jade Cargill. She was backstage with Red Velvet and Kara Hogan, who joined her baddie section last week. Seemingly, Red Velvet is now a heel. As if that wasn't already known. But, so, they talked about Maria Shafir, etc. But Jade's not worried. And this match, I worry it's going to be a dumpster fire of a match. I worry on Rampage. But on the bright side, it'll be over come Friday between Jade and Shafir. The Butcher, he went one-on-one with Wardlow. I listened to Rhodes to AEW Dynamite, earlier in the day in the car, and I listened how Wardlow and Butcher cut some decent promos for the match, and I was a bit surprised because, Butcher doesn't say a lot on AEW television. They don't give him the mic, but cut a decent promo, and here against Wardlow, MJF's pretty much hot gun. So, MJF and Shawn Spears, they were up in the skyboxes. So, he talked trash about Big Ben Roethlisberger, and compared them to Wardlow. Talking shade at both. So then he said that Wardlow will not be coming out to any music. So Wardlow was escorted out there. There were 2 security guards out there on the stage, and a boatload of security guards were surrounding Wardlow. As he was in his gear, he was handcuffed. He was out there to no music. Still got a very good reaction. Obviously not as cool as Kane when Kane was tried out there by police officers, while being handcuffed and shackled. That was not as cool as that, but still was pretty cool to see Wardlow. So, short match, but still pretty good. We know how good Butcher is also very good as a big man. But this is about Wardlow. It was a slugfest to start. And then they were fighting on the outside. Wardlow was dropped on the apron with backdrop. Lariat by Butcher. He hit a powerbomb. Looked like he kind of slipped or might have had issues with picking up Wardlow. So then he covered Wardlow, but only for a 1 count. Only a 1 count. So then it looked like Butcher may have had second thoughts, but Wardlow fired back with the offense, and he was livid. Then he hit the powerbomb 70, 1, 2, as in powerbombs, and then looked right at MJF as he delivered the third, and then one more. Fourth powerbomb, 1, 2, 3, and Wardlow gets the victory over the Butcher, and there was that. So MJF was livid. Wardlow, despite being handcuffed and escorted by police and security guards, was very smiling and found it funny, as even though he was handcuffed, he got the job done for the Butcher, and he knows MJF is even more livid than before. This match is going to be hectic. This match is going to be a fun one. Next, Kyle O'Reilly versus Jungle Boy. Owen Hart Cup qualifier for the men. Pretty good match, Jungle Boy and Kyle O'Reilly. We don't see a lot or we have seen a lot of when it comes to the tag team matches with Luchasaurus and Bobby Fish recently. But as singles, we don't see a lot of. This was actually, they said, O'Reilly's first singles match in AEW. But a pretty good match nonetheless. Jungle Boy, he had Suicide on the outside, and then he had Rebound Lariat, knocking O'Reilly to the floor. Then from the apron to the inside of the ring, he had Tornado DT into a guillotine choke, trying to beat O'Reilly at his own game because we know how good O'Reilly is as a submission-based wrestler. So O'Reilly then fired back, hit an exploder, but Jungle Boy then had another big lariat, knocking O'Reilly inside out. Tied up, O'Reilly and Tree of Woe hit a drop kick, and then looked like he was going for a hold, not sure what, but so O'Reilly then countered into a ankle lock, but Jungle Boy then countered that into the snare trap. O'Reilly got to the ropes, and then O'Reilly hit a superplex, followed by a brainbuster. Then hit a top rope knee to the back. 1, 2, 3. Kyle O'Reilly advances into the Owen Hart Cup qualifier match, or tournament, I should say. Jungle Boy does not advance. You know, I'm sure many were surprised. I had a sneaky feeling that O'Reilly was going over in this match. You know, they mentioned it. O'Reilly, a fellow Canadian, and with the style that O'Reilly wrestles, I think it was tailor made for the Owen Hart Cup. Plus the visual, the graphic of him and Samoa Joe made it more fitting of the Owen Hart Cup. And then they cut to Jungle Boy. He was on the outside, deflated, defeated. He said, and didn't see, but turned out to be Christian Cage. He said to him, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And also when you think about it, you're like, has sneaky suspicion, does Christian turn there? Not. Just have a feeling that's going to happen sooner or later, but we'll see. Either way, O'Reilly gets the victory and moves on for the All-In Heart Cup tournament. 2 solid participants to qualify so far for the tournament. And Samoa Joe and Kyle O'Reilly. NJPW was backstage with Shawn Spears. And he hired another mercenary to take out Wardlow. And this was fun. So he handed an envelope of money to Jake Roberts. Roberts cut a good promo. And out of nowhere, we see Lance Archer. The Murdoch Monster. He says he don't need any money. And he says everybody dies. So Lance Archer versus Wardlow next week. It's going to be carnage. It is going to be carnage when these two big fellas go toe to toe. Although I'm a little dejected because Archer, we don't see a lot on TV. He racks up a lot of wins on Dark, and then first kind of real time we see him since losing to Hangman, and looks like he's going to lose to Wardlow. Hook made his AEW Dynamite debut. No longer just on Rampage, or he is now on Dynamite. And boy, did he get some reaction. This was self-explanatory. He faced Anthony Henry, hit some cross faces. But as he was pummeling on Henry, we see Danhausen come out. And Danhausen, we know if you've been following, has been trying to curse Hook the last couple weeks, but to no avail. And he tried again, but it did not work. So Hook was unfazed, walked in the red room. Henry tapped. Afterwards, Danhausen confronted Hook in the middle of the ring, saying he's tired of the shenanigans. And he said, once and for all, you will fight Danhausen. And that got a big reaction in Pittsburgh. So, looks like we'll get Danhausen finally in the ring. Looks to be so. Against Hook. Boy, do I feel bad for Danhausen. But, you know, Danhausen, I know people are kind of turned off about his character. You know, it's a very comedic character, but, you know, it is generating a lot of funds for Tony Khan and AEW. Now will be his real test in AEW in the middle of the ring. So now I did see a couple matches of Danhausen. A couple of them in Ring of Honor. He can wrestle, but I mean, we'll see when he finally takes the character, going from the comedic character to finally in the ring. Kazarian and Scorpio Sky had a short reunion, it appeared. So, Kazarian was greeted by his former SCU buddy, Scorpio Sky. So, it looked like Kazarian was set to make a challenge for Sammy Guevara. But Sky stepped in and said, hey, just need one more favor from you. If you wait and let me challenge Sammy to a rematch, I promise you will get first crack at title. So Kazarian said, oh, simply just let it be and say I respect you and let it be. As he'll wait. So then speaking of the TNT title, Sammy Guevara and Tycotti. You know, first it was Cody and Brandy. Now it seems like Sammy and Ty are the wrestling community's least favorite couple. That's the way it seems. It's funny, so Sammy was trying out there with Ty, and Sammy was wearing this like fur kind of coat. And, you know, obviously big boos in Pittsburgh. And it seemed like Sammy Guevara was finally allowing and the realization that it's better off for them to be heels. It's better off. So, So, Dan Lambert and the Man of the Year, they're out there on stage, demanded a rematch for the TNT title for Scorpio Sky. And it was announced it would be a ladder match. And Sammy said, okay, on one condition, that it'll be a mixed tag, as it seems him and Ty versus Sky and Paige Van Zandt. Okay. The ladder match should be fun for next week. And the way it seems, Sammy Guevara is really leaning in towards the proper heel role, which you like to see. House of Black, it's been a couple weeks, but good to hear from the House of Black again. And next week, they'll be in action, or so they say. So, House of Black back on TV. Brody King, he was actually at Windy City Riot and made a challenge to Minoru Suzuki for the Washington show next month. I think it was May 16th, something like that, but that would be a nice match to look forward to as well. But next we had Danielle Kamea versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, returning off after a month since losing the title to Thunder Rosa and Britsburg, aka Pittsburgh, in this Owen Hart Cup qualifier match. And she was out there with two of the young rising stars of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Najee Harris, who had a very good rookie year at running back, and Pat Fryermuth, the young tight end, who I'm sure will continue to do well for you football fans. So she was out there, great reaction. Match was okay. Kamea has seen worse, but she did okay, but we know where this was going. Lockjaw by Britt. The glove she had was a Pittsburgh Steelers like glove. So there was that. And Kamea gave up. And Britt Baker advances in the Owen Hart Cup tournament for the women. Afterwards, she ran down the women's division, saying it's nothing when she's not there. Ran down Ruby Soho. Pun intended. Ran down Red Velvet. Jade Cargill. Just many. So it's funny. Najee Harris took the mic and tried to say something, but the mic cut off. So that was funny. But yeah, right decision. Britt Baker. She qualifies here, and it looks like her baby will qualify for the men's tournament on Friday. So good for both of them. Serena D, she challenged Hikaru Shida, two other women who, great to see more of. Next week, Serena D, because they'll be in Philly, Serena D challenged Shida to a Philadelphia street fight, which will all likelihood end this feud. both, on one hand, you kind of wish both these women were in the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Sheeta is in. Yes, she is in. Deeb is not. But, that's kind of why this was an Owen Hart Cup tournament qualifier. Yeah, I still think Deeb will be in, but it'll be intriguing to see who goes over next week because we'll see. And also, speaking of the Owen Hart Cup qualifier, next week, another qualifier, FTR will be one-on-one. Tag team collision. Dax Harwood versus Cash Wheeler and FTR. Only one can advance in the Owen Hart Cup tournament. So intriguing to see a tag team competitors face to face. See who will get a spot in the tournament. Main event. Andrade El Idolo versus Darby on Coffin match. Only the second Coffin match in AEW history. The first was a good one in the summer between Darby and Ethan Page. This looks like it'll be a Darby Allin staple. I was kind of back and forth when it came to the decision, but I kind of get it. So, obviously, no disqualifications. So, by the way, it looked like a more proper coffin. A little better coffin than what it was last time. So, Private Party and the Blade, they interfered because no DQ. So, they hit the attack on Darby. So, Andrade looked like he was about to open the coffin, but he had trouble. And he was waving his hand. So I thought, okay, maybe Sting's in the coffin. Because, of course, last time Sky was in the coffin and helped Ethan Page. So, but no. So, they were fighting in the crowd, and Sting, disguised as a Sting fan, surprised Mark Quinn and the Blade, hurling around trash cans, and then Sting is so crazy at 60 plus years old, diving off a mezzanine onto everyone below. Crazy. So they were back in the ring, fighting towards the rampway. Andrade suplexed Darby on the rampway. So that sucked. And then, to make matters worse, there's a steel grate, near the stage area. Visibly as Andrade hurled through Darby onto the steel grate, which made me cringe, but, Darby's a sick son of a gun. A sick son of a gun. So got back in the ring, so Andrade was by the coffin, and the top of the inner of the lid was covered in thumbtacks of the coffin, which is why Andrade had issues with the lid. So it looked like Andrade was trying to tear off the lid of the coffin, perhaps use it as a weapon. I'm not sure, but I mean, you know what, thumbtacks, trying to be careful. So then Darby, after he was thrown to the steps, got back in the ring, hit the best suicide dive in the business, like a missile, launched onto Andrade, knocking him into the coffin, knocking them both into the coffin. He tried to slam the lid onto Andrade, but issues and with the lid. So out came Jose, try to help his client, but he was back by dropped onto the inner lid, which thumbtacks looked like it. Mostly his leg and his ass probably got the thumbtacks, was still probably sucked. Finally, Darby slammed the lid shut on Andrade and the coffin. And there was that. Darby Allin wins 2-0 in coffin matches. You know, again, I was back and forth on the decision because Andrade, you know, though his direction is very underwhelming. Underwhelming with this family office thing, with his gimmick, you know. This feud with Darby, I like, you know, both are great. And, you know, Andrade needed a win, but this could be good also because this cements Darby, or this cements the coffin match as Darby's match. Plus, I mean, you could say that Darby was in some L's as well. So he needed a win as well. But also, this could be a good symbol. As in, you know, perhaps Andrade is written off TB for a bit, and he can perhaps get away from this family office thing, get away, you know, separate himself, be by himself, you know, maybe still have Jose, but nonetheless, break away, be on his own, and kind of retool himself, have a refresh, and perhaps he gets some more direction. That's just a thought of where they can go with this, but we'll see. We'll see. Either way, a good edition of Dynamite. The announcement of the Forbidden Door pay-per-view event, June 26th. Great announcement. But nonetheless, that's the episode for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be back Saturday, obviously, with AEW Rampage. Rampage will be back to its usual time slot. Battle of the Belts, of course, I uploaded that review on Sunday, so you can look that up as well. But nonetheless, thank you all. Be safe. Happy 420. See you on Saturday. Peace.